so you have some context about why community is so important to me. I'm the oldest of 4. My mother was a nurse who worked a lot of devils, and my stepfather was an alcoholic. So they were 2 both very intelligent people who were broken, that came from poverty, and life wasn't very kind to them. So they didn't have the skills needed to handle what life threw at them as young parents. So I essentially became parents to my siblings when I was 5 years old. We were very poor. All of our clothes were garage sale, our hand-me-downs. I was a kid with holes in her shoes at school. There were many Christmases when we didn't get gifts. I remember one year in particular, my sister went around the house and gathered things up so she could wrap them up in washcloths, just so we could have something to open. I changed schools about twice a year as a kid because my parents were skipping out on rent. We would sneak out in the middle of the night, which meant I didn't get to tell my friends goodbye. We did this pretty consistently until I was in junior high, and then it only happened about once a year into my sophomore year, and I stayed at the same school until I graduated. I was pregnant at 16, had my daughter, and got married at 17. And we were on food stamps for a while because clearly we weren't equipped to take care of our family at such a young age. And then I was divorced at 19. After high school, I worked in the cotton fields with my grandparents from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. with my grandparents. So after that, I went to work at Sam's Club. I didn't have a car, so I had to bum rides to work. My mother, my grandparents, my friends, my coworkers would all give me rides to work and home. I don't have a college degree. I tried, but just as hard as it is to get to work without a car, it's even harder to get to college without a car. So after a semester and a half, I figured out it was just going to be too hard. I dropped out and went to work because I needed the money and needed to contribute not only to my household, but to take care of my daughter. Then I was pregnant again at 22. Got married again. 10 years later, got divorced again, and vowed to never get married again. So here I was, a struggling mom of 2, living paycheck to paycheck. And then unfortunately, at the time, my children's fathers weren't in a position financially to help me much. And as I mentioned before, I don't come from a family of means, so we were on our own. When I was 36, I had to borrow $100 to pay for my son's school supplies and his clothes. That was a very low point for me. Then I had my car repoed. I still have a hard time with that one. So for a year and a half, I worked 2 jobs to make ends meet. I worked my full-time job during the day, and at night, I did medical billing, 7 days a week, unless it was a holiday. Plus was I got to do that from home, so that was good. As a child, I endured both physical and emotional abuse, starting from the age of 4 till I was 14. It was pretty consistent at the hands of my stepfather, who also endured the same thing as he was a child. So that was the only way he knew how to deal with life's struggles, was through physical means. And for the longest time, anytime someone made a sudden movement towards me, I would flinch because I was preparing myself to get struck. I didn't stop doing that until I was about 22. So, why am I telling you all this? It's not to bum you out, I promise. I'm telling you this, I'm sharing some of my life struggles so that all of you understand how important every single person in this room is. How important communities just like this are. You see, it was people just like you who helped me get through life's struggles. That's what a community does. It welcomes you, it embraces you, it lifts you up, and it helps you see things in yourself that you didn't even realize were there. So because of communities just like this one, I'm not a victim, I'm a survivor. And because of communities just like this one, I began to thrive. Because in 2012, at the age of 39, I got my first full-time job as a Salesforce administrator. I'd done it a little bit on a small scale back in 2008 and 2009, but in 2012, it was my first dedicated role as a Salesforce administrator. So at that time, I made the decision to become an active, engaged member of my professional Salesforce community. And that's when everything started to fall into place. And then in 2014, the tide really began to change for me. So for those of you that have a hard time with numbers like I do, that was only 4.5 years ago. So now, I want to give you a glimpse into my life as it has unfolded over the last 4.5 years. As you can see here, in 2014, I started the Austin Women in Tech, aka ATX Girly Geeks. I was founder, and I'm still the leader of it. In 2015, I started Salesforce Saturday. I'm the founder and still the leader, and it's gone global. as has the Austin Women in Tech chapters. And in 2015, I joined the Mayor of His Veterans Foundation. We help vets get jobs in Salesforce. And then in 2017, I became a member of their board. I became a speaker at Dreamforce in 2014, 2016, 2017. So for those of you that don't know, Dreamforce is one of the biggest technology conferences in the world. We have about 170,000 people that attend every year, and they sell out very quickly. And in 2016, 2017, and 2018, I'm a Salesforce MVP. And then in 2016, I was nominated as a finalist for Mentor of the Year in Austin's 40 Under 40. And then in 2016, I co-founded Pep Up Tech, just like Maribus, but we help minorities get jobs in Salesforce and get access to our networks and communities. And because of my work with Pep Up Tech and the community, myself and our co-founders were given the Trailblazer Quality Award by Parker Harris, who's the co-founder of Salesforce. And then later in 2017, because of my work with Salesforce Saturday in the community, Mark Benioff, who's the founder of Salesforce, who's worth about $4 billion, asked me to come and be a keynote speaker with him in his Dreamforce keynote. And then later that year, they asked me to go to New York City and be a keynote with Parker Harris for the New York City World Tour. Oh, and by the way, since 2012, I haven't had to go looking for a job. They all come to me. And every time I took a new job, it was with at least a 20% pay increase. So, again, how did I do all of this in such a short amount of time? One word: community. When you think about it, we've all lived in communities all of our life. As children, our first community is our siblings. My siblings and I clearly had a hard time as children, but we got each other through it by making each other laugh, looking out for each other, protecting each other, annoying each other at times, and scaring the living daylights out of each other. That was our favorite pastime. It's still one of my favorite pastimes. Another community is the communities in the schools. When we go through elementary school, junior high, high school, you have your community of friends, your teachers, the people that work in the cafeteria, the janitors who are picking up after you. You've got those communities that lift you up and embrace you. Then there are the professional communities. I formed at Dell, Apple, SmartSoft, Illusion, NFP, and now Spreadfast. With those communities, you interact with people who tell you what you're capable of, who help strengthen you and help you grow, and then you do the same for them as well. As a matter of fact, it was my professional community at SmartSoft that helped me with my first job when I interviewed back at the end of 2011 to get my first job in Salesforce, that led me to the path that I'm here. I decided I wanted to, get back into Salesforce, and I started applying for jobs. And some of the job descriptions had things I didn't know what they were, but I had previously read an article back in 2010 that said men apply for jobs that they aren't qualified for more than women do. I thought, well, I'm gonna do that. If men can do it, I can do it too. Well, that was easier said than done. When I read the description and I saw these things on it, like ad hoc reporting and VLOOKUPs and pivot tables, I had no idea what that was. Now, mind you, in Dell, I did sales. I was a closer. And I focused on sales. We had marketing team, we had finance team. They all handled all the PowerPoints and the Excel spreadsheets for us, so I didn't have to learn that. So I had no idea what this was. So I reached out to the guys I used to work with at SmartSoft and I said, can I do these things? I was like, what is this? They're like, oh yeah, you can do it. I was like, you sure? Yeah, you can do it. Just Google it, you'll be fine. So when I went in to interview for the job, Scott Zimmerman, who's the sales director there, he asked me, can you do pivot tables? Can you do VLOOKUPs? Can you do ad hoc reporting? I said, yep, I can. They told me I could, but I didn't tell him that. Now, had he asked me, do you know how, I probably would have been more forthcoming and said, well, no, but I can figure it out, just like I've done all along the way. So I told him I could, and he hired me. And years later, we still are in touch. He said, when Stephanie interviewed for this job, she way oversold her advanced Excel skills. Busted, I didn't know he knew that. And I didn't know those were advanced Excel skills. Thank goodness I didn't know that, because I probably would have done that. But he did say everything else that she brought to the table, though, was worth it. So the communities like that will help you go out and achieve what you need to achieve and give you that confidence. So in order to really embrace that, you've got to do a few things. Show up, be present, engage, connect, and give back. That seems pretty simple, right? So you'd be surprised how many people show up and they don't do all the other things. And I speak from experience. Because like I said, back in 2008, 2009, I did Salesforce on a smaller scale. I'd go to the user groups, I'd show up for the free lunch, I'd sit there and listen to whatever the presenter was giving to me, and then after it was over, I'd do a very little small talk, and then I'd leave and go back to work. And so after that, I went to work for Apple, but then I came back into the community. When I came back into the community in 2012, after I'd gotten that awesome job, I decided that I was going to force myself to be more engaged. I was going to force myself out of my shell and not to be shy. And I was going to ask questions. And as a result of doing that, here are some of the pics from the communities that I built from within the larger Salesforce user group community. Women in Tech, that was my very first one. It was my idea to start the chapters in Austin because I wanted more of that all the time and not just once a year. We became so good at professional development and building the Salesforce skill sets that I had one girl sent to me. We were actually doing a hands-on community session. After this session was over, her name was Krista, and she came up to me, she's like, I've been out of a job for 6 months. And I told a friend of mine about it, and she said, go see Stephanie Herrera at Salesforce Women in Tech Group. She'll help you. No pressure. So I was like, okay, let's sit down and talk. So we sat down and talked. I had her show me her resume, listen to her dialogue, and I knew right away what was wrong, and I tweaked it. It was her dialogue. She couldn't see what she had to offer, but I could see what she had to offer. In 3 weeks, she had 3 job offers, and she took the one she wanted most. Next up is Merivis Veterans Foundation. So we help veterans get jobs in Salesforce. We teach them Salesforce and we give them access. When you think about it, a lot of vets go into service when they're 18 years old, and 20 years later they come back out and they think, I don't have a college degree, I have nothing to offer the world. But they're wrong, they do. They've got the team building, the leadership. So we take those skills and we harness them and we put them into the Salesforce community and help them be successful. We had one guy that was making $17 an hour. Within 6 months, he's got a job making $92,000, as he should. He's a vet and we should take care of him. And then this is Pep Up Tech. Exact same thing as Merivis, but we do this for minorities and people from poverty. We give them access. We help, show them that tech is a warm and inclusive space. This is one of my favorite pictures. And then next up is the Summer Explorers program. This is the program that we do. We help underprivileged children get access to STEAM. Really funny story about this. I was just in New York City last week to visit them. That's when I took this picture. And it's in the Bronx. Our Lyft driver dropped us off, and I was like, wait, this isn't the right place. He's like, hey, it's just right on the side of the complex. We're walking around, come to find out, it was still a 33-minute walk from where we were going. And this older gentleman, William, saw us walking around lost, me and my 3 co-founders, Ruby and Shauna, and my daughter, Amanda. And he stopped us, and he's like, where are you trying to go? And we showed him, he's like, oh, no, you still got a ways to go. Come on, I'll take you over there. And we were just so happy to, we're in the Bronx. We were just so happy to have someone to show us the way. And people were like, you just jumped into a car with a stranger? I was like, hell yeah, I didn't think about that till later. But just goes to show people do want to help. And William was a wonderful man. And he got us safe and sound to our Summer Explorer program. We had a lot of fun. And then next is Salesforce Saturday. This is a group I started in 2015. We meet here in Austin. We meet every Saturday morning from about 8:30 to noon, and it's a way to grow your professional skill set and career development as well. And through Salesforce Saturday, that's where I learned firsthand that people really do want to help. I mean, we don't have our coffee paid for. We don't have our food paid for. We have to pay for our own food. People show up on their Saturday morning, their days off, not going back to work, and they show up to help each other. And that's when I realized that you just have to give people a vehicle to go and do good. And they'll do good, and they'll want to help other people succeed. So the impact of communities. I don't know if you can see this, but I got this text from another girl, her name's Christina, who had been sent to Salesforce Saturday again because she'd been looking for a job for 6 to 8 months and couldn't find one. She came to us looking for a job. We worked with her, we did mock interviews, we updated her LinkedIn, gave her the tools that she needed to start interviewing, and we, introduced her to people who were hiring. So 10 months ago, she got a job, and I just got this text, I guess it was about 2 weeks ago, that she just bought a home. And she, gives me credit, it's a whole community, that she wouldn't have been able to buy this home had she not gotten this job. And an update on this, a few days later, she got her second job offer. So this was her first job in the Salesforce ecosystem. Her second job offer with a $20,000 pay increase. I told her, you need to negotiate and ask for another $5,000. And she did. So she got a $25,000 pay increase. Yes. So here's a list of my helpers. All these people you see here have been people who have directly impacted my life and have changed the trajectory of my life in some way. And I think that's very important to celebrate that and acknowledge it. And there's one more, last but not least. This is Bo Bouvara and his team. I break my life into 2 different categories now, before Bo and after Bo. Prior to Bo, I had been working really hard in the Austin community, and Salesforce Saturday had been global in India, the Netherlands, Australia, London, and Argentina. Before Bo, we had about 35 chapters. After Bo, we have about 60 chapters now. We're also in Japan, Kenya, Bulgaria, Germany, Portugal, and Canada. And my life has been turned upside down, and I can't keep up. And this is why.
As a kid, I loved school. School was my safe place. I was a straight A student, National Honor Society. But I was dealt a hand that wasn't traditional, and that kind of turned my life upside down. So I did not get to go to college. After high school, my first job was working in the cotton fields with my grandfather. Seeing that was his only way to take care of his family, I felt a responsibility to do better. My husband got a job at Dell. He's like, just go interview. And I was like, I don't know computers. I don't have that experience. Somehow, I got the job, had great managers. I learned so much there. Once I got into the Salesforce platform, it changed everything. I've had so many people help me along the way. My manager at the time, he really believed in me. He's like, yeah, I was looking for someone to own the Salesforce instance, and I found you. He really gave me the confidence to fly. Starting out in the cotton fields of West Texas, now working as a director of technology on the Salesforce platform. That's the direct result of others helping me. So if I can do that for somebody else, I'm going to help them.
Stephanie is the heart and soul of the Austin community.
I started Salesforce Saturday to help others be successful.
A trailblazer to me is someone who leads the way for the next generation.
It's a whole new world. It's evolving and growing. People think they can't keep up with technology, but they can't. We show them how to start using Trailhead, and they're off to the races. We are encouraging each other, motivating each other, building each other up to be stronger through knowledge.
It's a story of support. It's a story of mentoring. A bunch of great, sweet friends.
There's just this energy.
They give me this power, like, oh, you can do it too. I was like, okay, this is it. I can do it.
When you find something you really love, the first instinct is to share it. Now, this is all happening on different sides of the world. Everybody can come together, learn new skills, earn badges, and connect with the community. You really can change the world one person at a time. You help that one person and they help somebody else. It does keep going on and on. And for me, that's been the most satisfying thing.
So, this brings me to the very last step for this community. This community has also, you have to create. Just like Bo and his amazing team did for me. That film did more for me in less than 3 minutes in communicating who I am and what I want to accomplish than I ever could with this very flat, one-dimensional PowerPoint. I'm not good at PowerPoint, remember, clearly. So what this film did is it taught me how powerful storytelling is. Everyone in this room has the ability to take community to a whole nother level, if you choose. Because of this film, I'm reaching even more people throughout the world. I'm helping more people get jobs, get higher salaries, and improve their lives. And as a result, my life has changed even more. Thanks to creatives like yourselves, I'm able to reach more people and give more people opportunity and hope, just like I was given throughout my life. All because of a visual creation made by talented creatives like yourselves. I mean, seriously, I'm so tired, y'all, from all the people that this has exposed me to and all the messages that I get, texts. I can't keep up, but it's a good kind of tired. It's a happy tired. Which brings me to this image. Whoever saves one life saves the world entire. Imagine with me, if you will, if everyone in this room used their amazing creative powers for good. If you choose to share your story or someone else's story or help a cause to do good using the skills and the talents you have as a creative. Imagine what we could do together to make the world a better place in our own way. Because when you do that, this is what can happen. This is my Salesforce community in action. These are the people that have impacted me, and then in my own small way, I've impacted them. So look at what can happen when you save a life like mine that was saved through community. Through community, I was given a purpose and a platform to do good with. Also, I no longer live paycheck to paycheck. I bought a 3,000 square foot home 2 years ago by myself. It's only my name on that deed. Also, I travel for Pep Up Tech. I pay my own travel expenses so that we can give these minorities and people from poverty access to our networks. And at times when we haven't raised enough funds, I pay for their expenses as well, because I'm in a position to do so. Now here is the ultimate benefit of community. It brings me to the fact that when I was born, I started out life with no privilege. Because of the communities surrounding me, I'm blessed with privilege, and through my communities, I hustle to share as much of my privilege as possible. I work to deplete my privilege bank every day. My plan is to leave this world with as much privilege as I came into it with. So for those of you keeping track, it was 0, it was none. And I will leave this world because I'm going to hustle every day to give that privilege back to anybody that crosses my path, which is why this quote is my favorite. To me, this sums up not just me, but the communities that I am a part of. It's not where you're from, it's where you're going. It's not what you drive, it's what drives you. It's not what's on you, it's what's in you. And it's not what you think, it's what you know. So, what impact will you create? Again, this is an image that Salesforce created for me to promote Dreamforce. Kind of cool, I couldn't have done this on my own. Again, the power of creatives at work. At Dreamforce, again, one of the biggest communities in the world, 170,000 people attend. At Dreamforce in 2016, I met Selena Suarez, who I ended up co-founding Pep Up Tech with a few months later. I'm harnessing the power of community every chance I get. So I ask you, how are you harnessing the power of community? What will your impact be? How will you choose to use your creative superpowers in this community for good? Either to lift yourself up to do good for others, or to lift someone else up to do good. Go out and find the people in your community, see them, show them what they can't see. The world needs you all, and I hope you will join me in being the change that you want to see.